Hey everybody, how's it? Monday morning. Monday. You know what I've decided to do? And I've had a lot of people ask me this, and I figured, well, who would be interested in my playlist? Well, I've decided that every other reaction I'm going to do, I'm going to pull something from my playlist in. So it's not going to be a reaction, it's going to be a rinse session. The word rinse is kind of lightly used to kind of like literally rinsing a track, I guess. You know, it's kind of a yo-hip jazzy kind of weird phrase that I picked up over the years. Anyhow, so I've decided I'm going to start off with a Jeebs style reflection track of rinsing with one of my favorite bands, Police. For many different reasons, each one of us have a memory of the Police, regardless of whether you're a fan of them or not. The impression that they made on the playlist of life, the music of life, the soundtrack of life, is for at least anybody who's maybe my age, let's say 40 years plus, is a paramount part of that soundtrack of life. Even if you never bought the CD and stuff, somewhere you can connect with it. This track, Voices in My Head, to me was such an amazing. Well, I'm just going to play it. Let's just go. I already started going because I already know what it sounds like. Let's go. This is Voices in My Head by the Police. All right. One of the great things I love about this up front is how Stewart is just slightly ahead of it. The looseness, but how tight they are, you know if you know. The use of the delay and a lot of the work in the guitar has been a very consistent thing in the Police. One of the very first experiences for me to having that ambient, ethereal kind of trippiness in a band, and it's such an important part of the arrangements. That's why I do crop circles in my carpet and voices in my head. What a great just vibe here. Another great thing is the leveling up in the dynamics as it's been moving forward. Not necessarily over-exaggerating any one of the arrangements. Just a little louder, a little more forceful. Stewart's ride work. Setting the groove and going, man. What a great fill. I always look forward to that fill when I'm listening to it. And I yearn for that 80s analog engineering and vibe too. I mean, Stewart has such a unique way with his arrangements. Voices in Your Head for me is a track that, nostalgically, obviously fitting in my soundtrack of life and stuff like that. But it was one of the very first tracks that I really kind of laid into and realized the power and the importance of just setting a groove. And it doesn't have to do about all the fireworks, riffing or chord changes or arrangements that are very flashy, though I love doing that. It was one of the very first tracks that taught me the power of simplicity, and that simple is not easy. So I can sit here and listen to this going, man, they were just staying in one little pocket the whole time, with the bass, guitar, maybe doing a couple arrangements, a little flexing here and there. Stewart having the best time ever on the drums. The subtleness of even the voices in the da-da. That's a great melody right then and there. It's like that was and is and will always be the hook of that track for me, melodically. Even the cha. It became a signature thing. Whenever you heard it, you just knew it was a Police thing. And if you notice, nobody ever tried to cop that. If you think about it, because it would have been so obvious. Hey, man, this was a great song. Let's do that cha thing that Sting did in that one cut. No. That's their sound. That's their thing. One of the things that I also really love about this track is the human element of the groove. And what makes it really work for me, because right now we're kind of in an obnoxious, quantizing, perfect kind of setting. Well, I'm sorry, if I say it that way, it makes it sound like it's not a good thing. It's good when it's good. But because it's been a hard set pattern that a lot of people do, is they quantize and everything's absolutely perfect, that when you hear a track like this and you hear that Stewart's just slightly ahead of it, or maybe Sting is just laying in behind it, or maybe guitar is just kind of slow, it just really, even though it may sound like there could be a little bit of a nanosecond, if you would, of drift in there, it makes it even more human for me. And of course, the engineering. I listened to this, engineered in the 80s and stuff. And, of course, they could have done that possibly on an SSL or a Trident or something like that that has some digital components, but it still was a tape because it wasn't, DAWs didn't show up yet. So to me, this track, without a doubt, even today, and if this is your first time here, you put down my first time, put it in the comment. It, to me, is just trance-oriented in its simplicity, staying in a pocket, and just letting it rinse. To me, that's the beauty of it. And all the little elements that I had already gone over, so uniquely, arranged in such a simple form, but the simplicity of that is so difficult, at least for somebody like me. So if this, like I said, if this is the first time you heard this track, say my first time, if you got anything to glow about, joining me on this rinse journey, Rinse on Monday journey, say I'm still here. You guys have a killer rest of your week. The world might be going crazy, but we got music. The playlist is in here. Whatever it is, however it is, remember, count the wins. All right, guys. Aloha. See you.